Hi, cats and kittens. I had a boss who said that to me once. I think it was when I worked at the library at the University of Miami. I used to work in the Richter Library at the University of Miami. And I had a boss who would say, "Hi, cats and kittens." She was funny. God bless her heart, rest her soul. So I hope everyone is doing well today. Today was First Sunday for many of you who, especially those who are Baptists or whatever denomination that recognizes the first Sunday of the month as First Sunday, where we partake in communion service. And I was, as one of the leaders in the church, I participated. And so we wear white and we cover all white from head to toe, keeping with tradition. But one part of the message today was talking about moving mountains in our lives, but something that has been, having now doing these talks, a couple of people have shared that they really got a lot out of it and it helped them through some difficult times. We're in a very kind of not troubling, but sometimes troubling, sometimes discouraging, just a lot going on. And I just want to remind you to not give away your peace. Hold your peace. Make time to find your peace and to retain your peace whenever you can. When it seems like things are just out of control or you just can't get peace in your spirit, take time away. Some people have prayer closets. Some people, like today, I decided on my way home, I stopped by the beach. I haven't been to the beach in a long time. Not out at the beach, but just seeing the water and riding along A1A and just seeing that, wow, it's peaceful out here. There's water, the trees, the palms are blowing. There is a boat show going on. I'm not going to the boat show, but it's just very tranquil out here. You can see the sky, you can see the ocean, and you can see the greenery that's growing, and life continues. And this is the edge of the earth here, but there's everywhere has their edge of the earth, and we just need to ground ourselves sometimes. So whether it's in prayer, whether it's in song, whether it's in thoughts, it's just something. Change your mind, your heart. Find something that brings you joy, that gives you peace. Whether it's a song, there's a few songs I like to listen to, and once in a while I have to change up my tracks because you hear the same thing over and over. And I just reflect back on those songs that give me peace and kind of helps me reset. Like Peace Be Still and Thy Will Be Done, and just any song that kind of settles you down and renew your hope in your spirit and lets you know not to be caught up in there's a lot going on, but you're one person, you have one life, live it to the fullest. Yes, we're gonna have problems, but sometimes, and I like to think of it like, you can have a sore and you can sit there and you can continue to pick at that sore, and next thing you know, it becomes a bigger sore instead of a little thing. Like they say, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. Well, you can pick at something to the point where it becomes a bigger problem because you just kept picking at it instead of finding a treatment for it, or it could be like a sore foot or something. Instead of finding a remedy, we still walk on it, or we don't get therapy for it, we don't see a doctor for it, we don't use ointments or whatever it might be. We don't take care of the issue. We keep picking at it instead, and sometimes we do that with our problems. We'll just rehash them over and over again in our heads. And I do it too, but we have to remember to check ourselves and not to give that one issue the majority of your time and your energy. Yeah, sometimes it's big things, but I like to say we have options, and sometimes it requires us to think outside the box, and sometimes it requires us to have an image or a faith that you can see a different outcome in the situation. See where you would like that thing to end up, or see other things that could happen instead. Like if it's if it's a health thing, just imagine or pray and envision yourself being healthy. Envision yourself overcoming whatever the ailment is. If it's something with work, just envision yourself in a different environment. If it's something at home, envision something different happening. Sometimes we don't want those things to change. People like to wallow in their problems and just sit there and rather complain about the issue instead of saying, you know what, whenever, and I say, you know what, but when you get enough of dealing with something, you'll make a change. And sometimes you have to recognize that enough is enough and make a change and say, you're going to do something different. You're going to change your life. You're going to stop going down the same road path that leads to the same thing. Try something different. Think outside the box. Envision a different outcome instead of the same thing. And until you do that, the results are going to be, you're just going to trouble yourself. You're going to lose your own peace. And sometimes it takes us a while, maybe a day or two, sometimes months, and hopefully not years, but sometimes it takes us years to realize that, hey, this isn't working out and I need to change something. I need to do something different. And on the other side of finally deciding, whenever we make those decisions to change, it's amazing that the things that you had in your heart and your mind that you do want to happen, that you could see beyond this problem, they manifest themselves. It opens, before you know it, you'll be on the other side, whether it's years, days, or weeks, or maybe even hours. That whole situation will have transformed into the thing that you had in your mind and your heart of something better and something greater. And sometimes it's even better than you could have ever imagined or wanted. And I've experienced it many times, and maybe many of you. But when we're going through things, it's hard to even remember those things. As I said before, the things that we have overcome, the things that we have persevered with. And so, this is my reminder to you today, because sometimes we just need those reminders. Stop dwelling on what's wrong or what's not going right, and envision and dwell on where you would like to be, and focus and put all your energy to that, because whatever you're putting all your energy into, you are manifesting that thing. And it's just so if it's the lack in your life, the not wanting, the things not going your way, if you're putting a lot of your energy into stewing over that stuff, you're just making it the molehill into a bigger mountain. So don't dwell on that. Think about the things that you want to transpire instead. Where would you really like to see things going? How would you like, even locally, we're looking at what's going in the U.S. If you love what's going in the U.S., hooray for you. But if you're not, just envision what you would want this place to be, and maybe it's completely different, and maybe it's not even being here anymore. Sometimes this is just a kick for us to transition to something else, because we never know what life is really trying to steer us towards, and maybe it is for a change. And sometimes change is hard and it's jarring, but the hard changes now could be great changes later. So envision what that change could look like on the other side. And it will be different for all people, but everybody has their part to play in this life. So envision what that part is for you, and what would give you peace and joy and make you feel productive and live a quality life. We are going to go through things, but I think our toughest battle is learning how to look beyond what we're currently going through and look at what it could be when we get on the other side of what we're going through right now. So, and that goes for me too. There are things that, I can share this with you now because I recently went through that myself, where it's just like, okay, well, this isn't what I want to be, where I want things to go. So let me work on changing this whole perspective on it so that I can get a different outcome, because if I did it before, it can happen again. So that's why we have life lessons. That's why we go through things. So because when we go through it once, we have the roadmap how to do it again. So I hope your weekend was well, and looking forward to a new week ahead. And don't forget to love to live and live to love. Later.